There's a feature missing on the Xbox Series S and X that could really make a difference. And that feature, you might be wondering, relates to the cloud because there's been an update this week for Call of Duty and it really sort of bubbles up the issue of storage on next generation consoles. Now, Activision has two big and popular titles. They have Call of Duty Cold War, and then they also have Warzone. And these two titles are typically installed at the same time on the same console. I mean, realistically, if you're a fan of Cold War, you're probably going to be playing Warzone at the same time. And there's a little problem. These things take up a ton of space, just a ton of storage on the device. And Activision this week is saying, and I believe this might be for the first time, that if you have a PlayStation 4 and it has the 500 gigabyte drive, you can't install all the features of the game. Like, it's just not possible. They are actually stating those who own a standard PlayStation 4 with the default hard drive of 500 gigabytes may need to make room if they have the full versions of Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Cold War with all models and packs installed. Should you have both games installed and have to keep up to date with updates, you may need to delete some of the game content to have a successful download and install the Warzone patch. Now, this is just highlighting an issue with one, that Call of Duty is just a massive game. Not only does it bring in billions of dollars, but it will happily eat up your entire hard drive. At some point, they could probably just start shipping the game on hard drives because it would be easier than trying to download these massive titles. And it doesn't honestly sound like Activision is going to be compressing this data anytime soon. There are workarounds, and we're going to get to some of this, but keep in mind, so they just announced yesterday, and I believe it's shipping today, the second update for Season 2 of these platforms. Now, it's technically not Season 2 for Warzone because it's been out for a while, but whatever. The update for Warzone that's shipping now is 17 gigs, or on the Xbox side, I should say, and on Cold War, it's up to 26.5 gigs. So those two titles alone are 40-ish gigs, somewhere a little over that threshold. Again, just a massive amount of data coming down to your box, and these things have limited storage, especially the Xbox Series S, which ships with a 500 gigabyte or 512, I think, technically, solid state drive, but there's only around 360-ish gigs available. So if you look at this screenshot right here, this is my Xbox Series X with both games installed, and you can see how much space it's taking up. It's actually taking up more space than is available on the Xbox Series S, which is a problem because these titles aren't going away. Activision isn't giving up on Call of Duty, and let's be honest, it doesn't look like it's getting smaller, and Activision isn't alone. There are other titles out there that have really big platforms as well, and let's just be real. The titles are only getting bigger, and this is an ongoing problem. And when you look at the Series S and X life cycle, they're going to be around for at least probably 7 years, and you can only imagine how big these things are going to balloon to in the next 7 years. So what is Microsoft going to do? Well, they've got a couple options. Realistically, the first thing they would love you to do is to watch all my Call of Duty clips that I've been playing during this. I play a lot of Call of Duty, but realistically, what they would love you to do is to buy their external drive, right? Remember, they sell external storage for the X and S, but it's expensive. I mean, it's a couple $100 as of the time of this video. You're looking at about 200 bones to expand the storage. Now, it is a 1 terabyte drive, and it will give you quite a bit of breathing room, and you'll get the same performance, and you don't have to worry too much other than the fact that you have to cough up the dollars to do it. What else could they be doing? Well, here's the thing that I think Microsoft is missing. Microsoft has this great technology. It's called cloud gaming, right? You can stream this stuff to your phone. You can stream it to your desktop, which is going to be coming really soon. And not long after that, you're going to be able to stream it to your iOS device. And titles play really well there. I've played Halo on there. You can play Ori. You can play tons of different things using this cloud streaming technology. The question is, why isn't it available on the Xbox, right? This would make a lot of sense. Now, we've seen demos and I've seen documentation that Microsoft was looking to do this. For example, you could go to the game store, you can click on a title, and then you can instantly play the game, but you're realistically playing it in the cloud. Why can't we get that today? This is a big push potentially for Microsoft to get people into Game Pass Ultimate, which again is a subscription service, which is again something they really want. Think about it from this scenario. I have Ori installed on my Series X. Does that game have to be installed locally? Probably not, considering that I can do it on my phone just fine, considering that I can do it potentially here, assuming on my desktop just fine, it can stream pretty well. Now, I will fully take the argument that first-person shooters, potentially like Call of Duty, may not stream all that well, and that is absolutely true, although I've had decent luck playing Halo in that same scenario. But why can't I offload Ori to the cloud and stream it locally? I'm already paying for Game Pass Ultimate. I can do this on my phone. Why can't I do it on the console? And this is a feature that has got to be coming, because this would help alleviate the issue that Microsoft might face here with the storage, right? Series S owners are going to be in that bucket very soon if they're Call of Duty fans. Like there's no question about it, and more than likely they already are if they want to have games besides Call of Duty installed. The question is, can Activision and Microsoft work closely enough to make Call of Duty stream pretty well? Now, Microsoft does do a lot of things. They have smart delivery, which is a really cool technology. They do other things to help compress those games. But at the end of the day, though, they're still huge. And Microsoft is sitting on the technology that could make this a lot better. For the Falconeer, I have that installed as well. Why does that need to be installed locally? Granted, it's going to cost Microsoft money to actually stream that game down to me, right? There's bandwidth costs. Like they've got to have server capacity. So maybe there's some issues potentially on that side. I don't know the exact uptick or playthrough rate of cloud gaming, but I would honestly imagine that it's much smaller than people playing on consoles, but it's still there. And so if they're wondering if they enable this for consoles, it's going to be a huge hit on their performance, and that's just not something that they're willing to do quite yet. That being said, this is a true differentiating feature that Microsoft could implement and make it better, or give them a competitive advantage over, say, PlayStation or any other service for that matter. It's like, look, hey, you don't have enough storage, stream it. You know what? You're already paying for this with Game Pass Ultimate. You don't need to go out and buy that additional drive if you don't want to. Now, if you want the best experience, yeah, you're going to want to go do that. But for a lot of like single player titles, I think this could be a huge win for the Xbox Series S and its smaller drive, because let's be honest, 360 gigs is a lot, but really it's not a lot in terms of Call of Duty. I mean, it's basically two titles, or Cold War and a Warzone, and then you're done. Like, good luck downloading a Forza or anything else that has a lot of capacity needs. So this is something that I hope Microsoft will eventually get to. They're not talking publicly about it yet, but they have to be thinking about how they're going to enable this, because there's other benefits to it as well. Maybe you're not interested in playing games on your phone or your PC or whatever device you want to stream it to. That's a very real thing. I totally understand why somebody would not want to play the Master Chief Collection on their Android phone while they're sitting upstairs. They'd rather play it on their console, but they would rather stream games on their console too. And that could be a good push to get people over. I'm not quite sure what the holdup is. Microsoft has clearly shown that they have the technical prowess to do this. I wonder if it's just because there's no push yet, but with this latest update to Call of Duty, it's really becoming apparent that, hey, 500 gigabyte is just not enough anymore. Like, it's just not enough. The OS takes up too much room. Games are getting too big. 1 terabyte, like that's in the Series X and S or Series X, I should say, is really like pushing the boundaries of what is marginally acceptable. I mean, you can see how much free space I have on my device, and I don't have a ton of games installed. And then on the backside, they've got this Game Pass service, which is great. You've got 100 games, but you can only install 5. So I think Microsoft really needs to... I would like them to come forward and talk more about their plans to bring this to the console, because I think that could alleviate some serious concerns that people potentially have about buying these consoles or just downloading games in general. And not to mention, I just keep going back to those external drives are $200. That's not cheap. It's not cheap. You do get great performance, but additional $200 on top of a value console that you sold for $299 just doesn't quite feel right. Put that extra capacity into Game Pass Ultimate, and I think you'll have a winner. So we'll be waiting to see what Microsoft does, but until then, keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.